My name's John. I host the Radical Empathy podcast. I used to direct episodes of Middle Ground, but I'll now be moderating today's discussion between jacked men and fat men. Our first prompt is, I have felt disgusted looking at a fat body.
Who's ready to hear all the excuses the fat guys have? That's why I came to this video, and I bet you did too. Let's dive right in.
Whoever feels compelled to start us off.
Well, it's unacceptable to be fat.
Okay. That's a great start. I mean, I know why you say that, but it's one of those things where, do you know why you're saying that?
Yes, because I've been fat before and I lost the weight.
I know why I'm saying this, but have you checked your biases lately, Myron? Unfortunately for this fat model, Myron will not be entertaining his nonsense.
Well, me too. I've been fat my whole life. I've been way skinnier than I am now, and I've been way heavier than I am now. Was I less valuable at one point in there?
Well, I mean, you can make an argument that you're less valuable when you're fatter because you drain resources, but that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, I mean, in general, being fat is unacceptable because you control every single morsel of food that goes into your mouth.
Okay.
It shows a lack of discipline, it shows a lack of character, it shows a lack of temperance, and when you're fat, it's an outward manifestation of your inadequacies.
When I see somebody who's 500 or 600 pounds, all I can think of is, why do they care so little about their health that they can do this, allow themselves to gain that much weight, knowing it's taken 20, 30, 40 years off their life? I just can't imagine not wanting to live that badly.
I understand that. No, it's I've definitely felt disgusted looking at my own body and looking at other fat bodies in my life. A lot of the disgust I felt looking at people was me feeling disgusted with myself and then projecting that feeling onto other people. And I don't think anyone on either side will disagree that health is important. I know that my own mental health was way worse when I was spending every fixate of my life trying to get smaller and trying to be thinner.
That's a common excuse you'll hear a lot of fat apologists give. They'll say, oh, my mental health is better now that I've stopped trying. Hence, it's fine that I let myself totally go because my mental health is better now that I've completely given up on myself somehow.
I don't think there's anyone that can look at somebody 500, 600, 700 pounds and not think, wow, what have they done? And not be disgusted. Like, how can you not? I just can't understand.
You can't
nobody
assume that
thinking
everyone
that.
has the same opinion though, because unfortunately, some people have emotional stuff that happened, traumatic stuff that's happened, so you can't discount and just say, oh, because they're fat.
Boo-hoo, man. Like, there's way worse stuff going out in the world versus
Absolutely.
people saying, oh my God, I'm sad, I'm gonna eat some ice cream. It's like, no, dude, it's like, you're fat, you made that decision, you live in the best country ever. If you live in a civilized first world country where you have electricity, internet power, etc., you deserve to be bullied. It's ridiculous to me that we have all these fat people running around. Meanwhile, people are being bombed in Gaza. It's ridiculous. We are so privileged here in the United States and in the West in general. When I see a fat person, I'm like, wow, you got the gift of life. You got the gift of being in a developed country, and you're a fat POS talking about body positivity on TikTok? What the hell is going on
But now
here?
you're segmenting though, because not everyone thinks like that. What do you
No, we
call
need
it?
to bring shaming back.
Okay.
We need to bring shaming back in so many other regards besides obesity. We need to do it with sluts. We need to shame fat people. We need to shame everybody when they fuck up. Because shame.
They're both like so uncomfortable. Fat acceptance, fat apologists exist because people like this are able to insulate themselves from people like Myron. They are insulated from the consequences of their actions, and they concoct these delusional justifications, which they spread to other lazy or unconscientious people who've given up on themselves. And then this stuff is reinforced by the media and turned into some sort of social justice issue, and it spreads. Not all shame that a person feels is because of some sort of abstract intersectional oppression hierarchy that these people have concocted in their heads. It's because being overweight like this is the result of bad decisions, bad habits, bad choices, and it's objectively unhealthy.
Shame has been one of the strongest defenses against degeneracy and human fuck-ups.
You had a personal experience you wanted to share. You said you used to be overweight. Now you're not.
Oh yeah, so I did an experiment back in like 2015 where I like bulked for like almost 2 years, and I got up to like 250 pounds, and then I dieted down. It took me about 7 months. I systematically did it, controlled my calories, tracked my macros, tracked my protein, carbs, fats, and systematically lost 1 to 2 pounds per week.
So you chose to gain up to 250.
Yeah,
you were
so
naturally
I've been in all
skinny
spectrums.
beforehand.
Like I'm naturally skinny.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I was like, all right, I'm gonna get fat as an experiment.
Yeah.
Did it, and then I was like, all right, now I'm gonna lose the weight. And then all I did was just track my calories, ate the same food every single day.
Yeah.
Went to the gym 4 or 5 times a week, and everything was controlled and it got done. Was it monotonous? Of course. Was it boring? Of course.
I agree with you there. I am naturally this way. This is with working out 4 or 5 times
That's
a week.
not true.
This is
No,
100%
you can't.
true, bro.
Nah, bro.
No,
Come to the gym with
it's
me.
not.
This is me
It's not
working out.
natural at all, because at the end of the day, if you don't lose weight, by definition, you're not in a calorie deficit. If you're not in a calorie deficit, then you're gonna either maintain or gain weight, and that's the problem. Is that people don't track their calories.
And that's true, but people burn at their resting metabolic rate a different set of calories.
Doesn't matter.
And of course, there's always the I'm just born this way, I'm destined to be fat argument. It really is remarkable how leftists will engage in this biological essentialism and then say that biological sex isn't real.
Let's not get too granular right now. It's going to be one of those episodes, right? Let's bring in the disagreeers and hear from them.
Okay, so the reason I disagreed, especially when I heard the statement, I don't think I'll ever look at somebody based on their situation and think that I'm disgusted. Like, if I see somebody that's a drug addict on the street that's homeless, I'm not disgusted by that. If I see somebody that's incredibly overweight, I'm not disgusted by that. Do I think that there's an opportunity for growth? Do I think they've been put in a disadvantageous position that's probably makes it harder for them? Absolutely. I think I'm kind of an empath, so when I see somebody, I know that there's things underlying, and one of my best friends is 400 plus pounds. I've helped him lose 150, 200 pounds. He's gained it back. And I don't look at him and say, I'm disgusted, but I know how bad he wants it. And just seeing how hard he tries and then reverts, it's almost more tough for me than to be like, oh, that's disgusting, you know? And I think there's plenty of people that look at me and say, that's disgusting. I never want to look like that. So like, I know what it feels like on the other side to like look the way I do and get people look at me like, ugh, that's gross. So like,
It's sad to see a personal trainer or otherwise fit, in shape, and disciplined guy begin to make excuses for the fat apologists, the fat activists. In the first case with his ridiculously overweight friend, it just pretty much sounds like his pity outweighs his disgust. So that's why he says, oh, it's more tough for me than anything. And then the other thing is just this sort of, oh, well, I know some people don't like my body type, so I get it. Like, don't water the message down. Being obese is objectively unhealthy, and it is a natural and normal response to be disgusted by someone who is in a condition where they're clearly, they're dying. They're literally dying very slowly, but still dying.
have that muscle. And to go back to that point, like you came from a fit place and like deciding to bulk, like that's a conscientious decision to gain weight. Like you already have those habit routines and skills in order to stay in shape. And then you use those same skills you had to pull back on the calories and knowledge you had.
The reason why I use that example is that you can get fat and lose the weight if you know what you're doing and you have the knowledge and everything else like that. It's just about consistency over time. So it's like, I look at it like—
let me cut you off, because here's one thing that you just said.
Yeah.
You had the tools. So there's people that don't have the tools that you've passed judgment on, and you have failed to realize that with the tools, people are very much capable of achieving amazing things. But
Okay, let's talk about set
no,
tools then.
hold on, I'm not done.
Why, you cut me off
I'm
before,
not done.
remember?
And I stood over there and I listened to you and I was like, it's a ton of bullshit too.
Sure.
But we're gonna address this, right?
Yeah.
I bet Myron could make this guy cry, honestly. These people exist because they live in their little bubbles where they're insulated from reality, and they just repeat these lies back and forth to each other.
You are passing judgment on people who lack the tools to do what it is that they need to do to get themselves to a certain point of health. There are multitudes of factors that weighs into what goes on with somebody's body. There are people that even if they work out, losing the weight does not come as simple as just going to the gym, cutting calories, watching everything that you eat. There are some people that have a disposition. I have a disposition. But does that mean that I'm not active? Does that mean that I'm not doing certain things? No, it doesn't. But you're passing judgment on somebody's body that you know nothing about. Now, on the flip side, what if I turned around and I did the same thing to you? You're talking about how fit and stuff that you are, but you're over there and you're smallest compared to these other guys.
You could just tell he's so angry and so offended right now. He's trying to hurt Myron's feelings. Well, you're not as big as these other guys. You say it's so easy, but you're not literally as big as they are. There's the other argument, too. You're passing judgment. You're passing judgment on someone's body who you don't know. You're prejudiced. These people just pretend that common sense isn't a thing. Like, people's bodies do burn calories at different rates. People's bodies are different. People's bodies do store fat in different ways. That does not give you an excuse to be 300 pounds. You let yourself, this guy's probably more than 300 pounds. It still does not give you an excuse to be overweight. You let yourself go. Get in shape. Stop making these excuses. Be real with us. He really is arguing like a woman, because I remember talking to my girlfriend's sister and her mother, and I was like, can someone be healthy if they're like 300 pounds? And their first reaction is to go, well, theoretically, there could, hypothetically, they're doing, it's totally wrong. Like, their leftists' minds are so shattered by these arguments from exception. It's like, okay, you could have like a 6'8" guy who's 300 pounds or something, and that's fine for him because he's just physically huge. That's an exception. We're talking about regular people here. If you saw a 300-pound person walking down the street, would they be healthy? The answer is no. You don't need to know them. You don't need to know their life story. You don't need all the facts. They're just fat and unhealthy, and they have the ability to change it, and that's it. There's no way this guy in the green is active like he says he's active.
So how does that feel if someone comes? No, because you said shame, right?
That's a little.
You said shame, right?
Yeah.
So how does that feel if someone comes up and they start shaming you for size? Like, come on, it goes both ways.
We're just in the first
So,
prompt. We got to be
here's the
careful
thing.
about targeting each other too directly. You
No, I
definitely.
mean, I'm not offended. It's fine. He's emotional.
no, it goes
and that's
in
fine.
every direction.
He's obviously very triggered.
I'm
But yeah,
not
so let's talk
triggered.
about, let's hit the first part, tools. What are the tools? The tools are simply knowledge, which you can get for free on the internet. If you have the ability and the discipline to go out there and get the knowledge, then you're gonna lose weight. It's just that simple. It's just that people wanna always make excuses for why, oh, my feelings, oh, I don't know what, you don't know what people are going through, blah, blah, blah. No, you can watch your calories, you can go to the gym, you have time to do it. People just like to make excuses.
I don't think anyone's debating that weight loss is impossible here. I think the question is, why do you hate fat people, that you feel the disgust towards it?
And see, there's the projection. You hate fat people, that's why you say you're disgusted by them. These people hate themselves. Being overweight like this is a miserable condition to be in. They're not setting a good example for themselves or others. You can't look up to them because they're putting work, they're disciplined, they're putting work into their lives. That's not happening because they sit around all day making these excuses, and that's nothing to feel proud about. So when someone actually comes along and tells them, calls a spade, says, hey, this is a disgusting condition to be in. And this also went from I've felt disgusted by a fat body to you hate fat people. Like, look at the jump there in logic. Like, come on. Whoa. Putting words in Myron's mouth here.
Well, like I said before, it's a culmination of a bunch of bad decisions. I'm not going to go ahead and give the same level of respect to someone who's a fat ass to someone that has worked really hard and diligently on their physique, because your body's outward manifestations
There's
of
more
your decisions,
factors to a
your
human
consistency.
being than their body.
Well, you could judge a lot just off of someone's physique. You'd be like, okay, well, this guy is lazy, and that's personified through their physique. It's the truth.
Abe, I saw you wanted to say
I mean,
something.
just to take it back to the prompt, I think we just kind of went all over the place there.
We're still focusing on the word disgust.
Just the word disgust. I mean, I would never look at someone and show disgust towards them. I mean, I think I would respect, like you said. I mean, you don't respect everyone, like you said, but I think
Respect is earned.
I mean, it is earned, but I mean, I think at a humane level, we can learn to appreciate each other's differences.
Yeah, I don't know if disgust would be the right word, right?
I know.
Greg mentioned some health implications with being overweight or obese.
Yeah.
I think being concerned might be a better.
That's the word I was going to go
better
for.
word.
Like,
but
I can show concern for someone for the way that they are, but I would never look at someone and say like, you're disgusting.
But is it any different than if you see somebody who's extremely anorexic, they're 50 pounds, you look at them and you're in shock? Oh my God, like something happens in your body you can't control. You can't stop that. Like how can you not? It's not, I don't hate them.
That's different
it's just,
from,
wow, oh my God, it's like, it's disgusting. Like, holy goodness
But
gracious.
why
That's a
would
shock
you
factor,
use
though.
the word
That's not
disgusting,
disgusting.
right? So you just mentioned the polar opposite of what we are, right? But why would you look at them and be disgusted versus concerned?
Because someone who looks like, say, Eugenia Cooney is in a very serious physical condition. Someone's not supposed to be this weight. Someone's not supposed to look this way. It's clearly unhealthy, and it to this guy and to normal people, it's often viscerally repellent. Like, you know something's wrong. It's alarming. It's disconcerting.
That is a very specific word, and it has very specific connotations behind it. And when it's used, it's somewhat weaponized as well.
I don't think we can help how we feel. I don't think I can choose like, oh, I just am not. It would be sitting here and lying. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I'm always going to be honest with people. I'm disgusted. This is just how I feel.
Some people have low or high disgust tolerance. It is a physiological response that you can't just condition people out of. So no amount of diversity courses could browbeat a guy like this or anyone else with like a low disgust tolerance into not being disgusted. It's just a natural feeling that humans will feel, ingrained on a biological level. Some people are just naturally more sensitive to feelings of disgust or feeling disgust at disgusting things.
Jacked men are more attractive than fat men. Will the agreeers please step forward?
How come there's 4 guys over there? All right, so we're living in a bizarro world where people don't see the truth. Like, how is it possible that they're thinking, no, being obese and unhealthy is more attractive than being fit and healthy? How is this possible?
Actually, you know what? This is precisely why a majority of women find a majority of men as unattractive. Because a lot of guys think this way, oh, I just be a nice guy and girls are gonna like me. No, they're not. She's not gonna suck your dick with the same veracity when you're a fat fuck as when you're in shape. She's just not. See, people don't understand that women are aroused by one thing and they're attracted by another thing. Women are attracted to, a guy that's confident, ambitious, makes money, etc. Of course, right? But they're aroused by guys that have asshole tendencies, dark triad traits, etc., and guys that are physically in shape. So if you want to get the best of your woman, where she respects and admires you, while simultaneously being aroused by you so she doesn't cheat on you, you need to have it all.
You're saying that's true for all women?
You really saying that's true for all women? That's quite the assumption. That's quite the hasty generalization. Hashtag not all. But seriously, like, this is why the left will always fail men, why we're always going to see this polarization going forward of men leaning more conservative and women leaning more left-wing, because the left will never tell a man how to be a man. The left can never tell a man how to be successful with women. The best advice they have is be a male feminist and be funny or something. They're never going to raise standards. They're never going to actually give men a kick in the pants to be better men because they want men to be weak and squishy like these fat apologists.
Obviously, this is going to be like personal biases, but I think attraction is very fluid in the sense that I can 100% admit, like, there was probably 40 pounds of muscle ago is when most women would be like attracted to me. Of course, like fitness girls, they're totally okay with the size I am, but like probably most girls I'm like too much for. So I guess like where do we draw that line of like, I think for example like you would be much more attractive to most women than me. Would you agree with that?
I mean, that doesn't mean that like if you walked up to a girl and let's say you're not her, like you're a little bit more muscular than she would like, if you have the charm and charisma, she gonna still go with you, man. It don't matter.
You think the guy in the orange was paid to play devil's advocate? Or does it disturb anyone else that we now have fit guys that are making excuses for fat apologists? Like, listen to this.
I have an interesting point. Yeah. And no shade on you, but I think if you had Zach, right, you're on the end?
Yep.
If you put Zach and Greg and you put them next to each other and you did a poll, I think that most women would probably pick him if you had to, like, because he's got the height and all that. What would you guys say to that?
No.
Well, we can put it to the test.
But
I
that's
just-
not
and
really
it's-
fair. I'm 48 years old. He's a lot younger than me. He's about a foot taller than me. But you can't compare. I'm an old man. I'm 48 years old.
Obviously, height is a big component. So that you know, so it's not apple. You're comparing apples to oranges. But if you take the same guy, same height, etc., but one guy is fat, one guy's in good shape, she's always going to go with the guy that's in better shape.
That was exactly my thought. It would have to be Zach and a fitter version of Zach for this to really make sense.
Because I've been so surprised to see on Instagram, there'll be like guys doing like an outfit try on, like not in shape in the slightest bit, and all the comments are women like, I wish like men knew this is how we wish they looked, and like, oh, this is like the
Liars
dream.
for
This is
social
like-
media.
Man. Liars for
To look good,
One thing
for
about you
clout.
can never believe what women say, man. You
Correct.
you believe how they behave, not what they say.
That's a different episode.
That's all right. Figure it out.
Yeah.
I disagreed mostly just with the blanket statement because attraction is so subjective. I am a big and tall model by trade. That's what I do. I model clothing brands. I've modeled with major fashion houses. I've been on the covers of magazines. You mentioned before dad bod comments and whatnot on social media. I was flabbergasted when I started how many people were commenting and DMing me and talking about how attractive I was, that it just kind of, I don't know, showed me that attraction is a lot more subjective than I thought, and people have a much wider range of what they find attractive than specifically a body type.
This guy doesn't even really look all that overweight compared to the other three guys on his side, the other fat guys. So him bragging about comments doesn't necessarily mean all that much. I mean, he kind of looks like a really tall, average-looking guy who's just kind of well-groomed and put together. That's really it.
Just to be clear, are we speaking about women being attracted to men?
It's not just about women. It's just about attraction. What is the
general?
most attractive, in your opinion,
Okay.
physique for a man?
Okay, I'm speaking from like what women find attractive. So when I speak, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I'm
anybody?
sexually fluid. So my law of attraction does not adhere to anyone's standards.
Yeah. The I'm gender fluid so anything goes crowd pipes up again. People adopt these identities and this mentality because they just want to drag everyone down into the mud with them.
Pretty much. I'm attracted to people in general. So you could be jacked, you could be more plus size, you could be skinny, you could be whatever it is that you are. If I'm attracted to you, I'm attracted to you.
What are the traits you find most attractive?
I think the way that you carry yourself is a really big thing for me. I can't date someone who lacks confidence because I feel like that seeps into other aspects of your life.
Who honestly believes that this man has ever dated anyone who's actually confident? By how you carry yourself, he means, are you slaying queen? Yas. You know, that sort of almost a false bravado, if you will, some of these people adopt because they just exist in these echo chambers and, you know, being like transgender and 50 pounds overweight and wearing something that is totally unflattering and then, you know, strutting down a runway or something like that. Like that behavior is reinforced among these people. So I guess that's what he's looking for.
Do you mind if I jump in on the confidence thing?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So growing up, wasn't too confident in myself, and I gained that confidence when I started losing weight. And I noticed it was me putting myself in positions to get more opportunities with women. Right now, I'm single right now, but I'm doing okay. But the confidence came from me losing weight. So I do agree that it's a subjective kind of standpoint, but socially, I understand that physically fit men, that's just like what everyone's liking.
I think that guy Rich who just spoke with the dreadlocks is rescuable, but he needs to be put around the right people who hold him accountable. Because he's acknowledging that there are returns to living a disciplined life, and he's admitting there's a practicality to it. So he's not way out in leftist delusion land, but he's still entertaining people's feelings and placating them like the guy in green on the other side.
like what
I don't
that's
think
what
it's
you're
as
sourcing.
subjective as guys are trying to say. Attraction isn't a choice, and there are hardwired traits that women look for in men. And what I've come to realize is that what women put out there is what they find attractive or politically correct things. Oh, he has a dad bod. He's nice. He's a good guy. The reality is that women don't respond well and favorably to these men. There's a reason why nice guys finish last is a thing. It's because when you're too nice and you kind of bend to her will, etc., girls aren't aroused by that. Girls don't want to say what they're really aroused by. Guys that are able to stand up to them, guys that are able to tell them, well, that was a stupid comment, or hold them accountable for their stupidity when they do dumb things. This is what women find attractive because these are leadership traits.
Have any of those things happened to you, though?
Well, I mean, I've talked to almost 3,000 women, and what I've come to realize from talking to all of them is that most of the time, you know, when they're in a comment section of TikTok, like, you're so handsome, blah, 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 will they actually go on a date and have sex with that guy? Probably not. But they say that because it's politically correct, and women tend to not want to be adversarial. They're going to say what sounds good, but what they're actually aroused by are two different things.
But they're married to those guys.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was
Most
getting to.
often they're married
I'm
to-
married
And
to.
marriage is a
cheating.
failed institution in the West, and this is why most men get divorced by women. This is why they get destroyed in the divorce courts. This is why women overwhelmingly initiated the divorce rates in America. 80% are initiated by women.
Just look at the guy in the plaid. He is so uncomfortable the whole time Myron's speaking. He's just like, you're breaking every social rule. You can't say that.
So the prompt was simply, is it either you jacked
yeah.
or
And
are you
I'm
fat?
not
What's
gonna
more
argue
attractive?
the fact that our society definitely finds jack guys more attractive. But I disagreed with the statement because it was a blanket statement that I have found untrue in my own life.
Do you, all of you, feel like you'd be more or less attractive, let's say 50 pounds lighter than you are, and simply like just body fat?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something that I struggled with for a while is, in me losing weight, am I still going to be able to book the jobs that I book? Because I've built an entire brand off of my body. I mean, granted, like, cool as shit, like, you know, I did something that's all my own, like, I worked on that. But then I was also just like, if I lose this, are you still gonna want me to, like, do this campaign for you? Are you still gonna want me in your magazine? Are you still gonna wanna dress me? And then I had to, like, take a step back and say, like, well, what is it for me? Do I want to be skinny? No. Do I wanna look like Greg? No. Do I wanna look like Myron? No. But I know I wanna look like me. I think talking about the law of attraction, you focus so heavy about what women would find attractive and the perspective of the woman. And I feel like, are you even attracted to yourself? When you look in that mirror, when you put your clothes on, are you like, damn, like, I did that? Because when I got up this morning and I threw on my outfit, I was just like, yeah, I ate that.
I ate that. This guy just constantly talks like a woman.
Well, if you're going to talk about being attractive, etc., typically people are speaking from a romantic sense, from a heterosexual standpoint of men and women. So that's why I answered the question, because it was very broad. That's what I mean. But of course, you need to be able to look at the mirror and respect the man that you see looking back at you. When you look back and you see the guy and you're in shape, etc., and you feel good about yourself, look good, feel good. A byproduct of that is that women just tend to find you more attractive. It all works together in tandem.
Are you happy with the way you look?
Of course, of course. But I had to work to build this physique, and it took many years. I was an athlete in college, I was a Division I athlete. It took many years to be able to do this. So,
What'd you play?
I rowed in college, crew.
Oh, sweet.
Rowing, yeah.
I like rowing.
So I think when fat people look at the mirror and they say, oh, I like that, that's coat, man. No, you don't. They say that to try to bring themselves up, but the reality is most of the time when you're fat, you look in the mirror, you're like, damn, I really let myself go.
Not every
You're
fat
like, you know what?
person-
It's not that much of a priority, so fuck it.
The guy in the plaid next to Myron's raising his arms like, what the heck? That's uncalled for. Dude, your negligence in not acknowledging the truth of what Myron is saying, just because it may or may not conflict with your personal experience, you're allowing that guy in the green to slowly end his own life. He's clearly unhealthy. He's clearly coping. He's clearly insecure. You are hurting him in pretending like these standards are ridiculous and arbitrary and not founded on anything. Come on.
The body positivity movement is problematic. Will the agreeers step forward?
Well, I think where it becomes a problem is obviously you should be comfortable in your body, and if you genuinely love how you look, great, but you can't ignore your health. Being someone who is overweight, I've been fortunate enough not to have any extreme complications other than, like, you know, knee pain and stuff like that. But I know people that, that are my size or bigger, and they have cholesterol problems, heart problems, diabetes. I have none of that. So the body positivity movement becomes a problem when you hide behind this shield of, oh, I should love my body, da 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 da. Great, but you have to be healthy too. You can't ignore your vitals. You gotta like check yourself on the inside.
Yeah, I think the big thing is you have to separate the health implication with you just being confident, right? Like I'm all for people to feel confident in their own skin. I think body positivity movement has been beneficial for plus size people in that regard, right? Because let's say there's a plus size person who's too embarrassed to go to the gym because they feel like they're gonna be judged, whatever it is. But it's because of body positivity, they're like, oh, hey, like I see other plus size people in the gym, maybe I'm gonna give it a try. And all of a sudden they start going, they're like, oh man, I like this, right? And they keep it going. You can argue that without body positivity, maybe that day would have never happened for that person, right? But I think the problematic part really comes down to people extrapolating body positivity, shaming a celebrity, like let's say Adele, for losing weight, right? That's where I would kind of draw the line there.
Well, promoting Lizzo. Making fun of Adele for losing weight, but promoting Lizzo for being a fat ass. Unacceptable.
Are a lot of people doing that?
Yes, people do view Lizzo as a fat icon. Remember when everyone was saying that Lizzo was going to get with Chris Evans for like a week for some reason, as though she's even in his league? Like that makes any kind of sense?
I think the thing around Lizzo is it's not just the weight, it's the lifestyle. You like see her drinking all the time and partying and not sleeping. There's like so little to do with health. It's not just she's promoting like loving yourself, which I think is great. She's promoting a lifestyle that is unhealthy, like being very overweight, drinking, not sleeping. All of these things are not conducive to your health. So I think you conflate that, and sure, being body positive is important, like loving yourself, loving the way you look. But if that's gonna influence other people to make bad decisions about their body and their health, that's problematic.
Body positivity is disempowering people. It's making them think that they're healthy at any size, which they're not. And so as soon as you start telling people, hey, just love your body, like Lizzo will literally rub her belly and said, you're giving me all this power as she's eating a burger and she's promoting being obese. By doing this, you're just ruining it for people who actually should think, wait a minute, I can lose weight, I can go to the gym, I can eat less, I can do this.
Yeah, because she's supposed to be this hot, slaying icon when she is obese, and that is manifestly unattractive and unhealthy. She is promoting obesity.
Personally, my problem with body positivity isn't necessarily what it stands for, and I feel like
I'm surprised he's over here.
there's a misconception because there are those people that they use it to justify fatness and just I don't even want to say fatness. I want to make it very clear, unhealthiness, because there's someone like me who I wouldn't say I'm necessarily part of the body positive community anymore. Personally, I would say I champion body diversity because it's all encompassing. It's inclusive of what everybody, is doing within their journey. When I expressed the desire to lose weight, another plus size individual that I used to be friends with was just like, well, I don't feel like I can share your content because I'm not sure how my followers are gonna perceive this. I think it might be triggering for them.
Wow. That's so telling. What pushed this man rightward, what pushed this man towards common sense was getting to a point where he felt unhealthy and like he needed to make a change, and then that making that change was perceived as an obstacle for other people, was perceived as a problem to other people. He's like, you know what? He's there thinking to himself, you know what? Maybe I do need to lose a couple pounds because this is just not it. I do not feel healthy. I'm not proud of myself. I could be doing better. And then other people are like, oh, actually, sorry, I can't work with you anymore. That's offensive. That is wild. Although I have heard of this before. I've seen things like this before. There's this YouTuber, and I forget the name of her channel, but she was like this former body positive / fat activist person. And what pushed her out of the fat activist movement was that it came to a point where she was just unhealthy and she couldn't deny it anymore, and she wanted to lose weight. And then because she wanted to lose weight, she was demonized by the other people in this movement for wanting to lose weight and improve her life. And that is how the fat activist movement and a lot of these movements chew people up and spit them out. Because some people are like letting themselves go, letting it slide, but then when it really comes to that point, they're like, all right, I'm at rock bottom, I gotta do something. Because leftist movements are movements of slave morality. They're of dragging everyone down to the lowest common denominator, trying to make every link the weakest link. And a lot of people are seduced or taken in by these outward promises of, oh, this is just about getting people to feel better about themselves and getting people to feel less stigma and shame for just existing the way they are. But no, they are about justifying a lack of discipline, justifying bad behavior, justifying lowering standards. They have a very sinister, dark heart, which they deceive people by giving them this shiny, outward, positive coat of paint. And this is a big part of why people in this movement, why their mental health is so often just terrible and worse. And you'll always see them going through something or having some sort of breakdown or having this, that, and the other problem. Because they are totally motivated by negative emotions, by this animus they hold towards other people that are more successful than they are.
And stuff like that. And my response to it was, well, if you're championing body positivity, then what I'm doing should not be a problem. Because the entire time that I've been advocating for people that look like me or people who have been othered in any capacity in general is that all bodies are good bodies. What we do with our body is what matters. And so body diversity is important to me because for a guy like you, or a guy like the two of you, might suffer from body dysmorphia. And that's a very real thing. You might not see yourself for what you really are. And so you're seeking unhealthy habits to achieve a goal. To get where you want to go, like you just got to give it time. Be healthy in it, in all aspects, like mentally, physically. You've got to find the right avenue to do what it is that you need to do for yourself.
The body positivity movement is a huge psyop to keep us fatter and stupider. It's all a scam. The reality is that Big Pharma wants money, and they understand that when you're fat, you have more health problems. They understand that you're going to need insulin, you're going to need medication, etc. And they make a bunch of money on us being sick. There is no incentive to actually have you be healthy. So let's go ahead and make our people fat as hell, get them in the hospitals, get them on medication, continue to make money, etc. It's all a big psyop.
So you believe it's all intentional?
Yes. We promote mediocrity.
I feel like it's a subset. Yes, I'm sitting here because I do think that there is a part of it that is problematic. But I think that the problematic part of it is a subset of people that use it as a tool to weaponize whatever it is that they're doing.
I think the whole movement is a problem. The body positivity movement in general is a problem.
This guy in the green is also a good example of how yesterday's liberals are today's conservatives, because the devil always takes people a little further than they want to go. What he thought was a movement that would make him feel better about the fact that he's overweight for a while, that would make him feel like less of a piece of crap, turned out to be a movement that wants to drag him straight to hell. And, hopefully going forward in life, he'll learn his lesson, but there's no real compromise or dialogue to be had with these movements, as unfortunately so many average people out there and so many people in this discussion, like the guy in the orange and the big and tall model, like they seem to think there is. Like you can't, you give an inch and people like this will take a mile. And I was a little bit glad to see that, at least there's some part of that guy in the green who understands that the way he is unhealthy and wants to be better, and he doesn't entirely seem like he wants to drag other people down to his level, because he got a little bit of that treatment himself. But again, this is a very dark situation, and it serves as a reminder to all men that you need to be constantly improving and innovating in your life, because there's a concerted effort to make you weaker, to make you less effective, to make you less alert, to make you less aware, to make you fail at life. So, anyways, on that note, this was another one of those ridiculous hour-long videos, and I wasn't going to go through the whole thing, but join my Discord. The link should be in the description. Gotta plug that again. Come talk to me, talk to the other people there. Sometimes I will have them on in videos. You could be featured if you want to be. After this channel grows a little bit, I'm going to close it. So join while you still can. And that's been it for this video, and Red Channels will catch you in the next one.